Hello everyone. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for reporting a nurse for negligence that could have ended in serious repercussions? I 39F had a baby 4 weeks ago. I have 2 other kids, 8M and an 18F. I had complications with my 8-year-old's birth that resulted in me having septicemia or sepsis. I ended up in ICU but recovered. I got an infection in my breast one day last week. It didn't improve, so I went to a walk-in clinic. The doctor there gave me antibiotics, but told me if my fever went above 38 Celsius or 100 Fahrenheit to get medical help immediately. She explained that me having sepsis in the past meant it was much more likely that I could get it again, and she gave me all the symptoms to look out for. I agreed, so they sent me home. I started declining later that night. My temperature hit 38 degrees. I was shaking and barely able to talk and was stuck in bed due to being wobbly. In my country, there is a number you call for medical attention because they charge quite a lot if you just walk into the emergency room without a professional referring you. If they agree you need help, then they send you to the emergency department. So the nurse calls back. She was given all my symptoms and temperature, etc., but she only asks if I urinated in the past 12 hours. I had, but my husband helped me to the toilet because I couldn't walk. She told me it wasn't sepsis then and told me to take an ibuprofen. She sounded irritated, like I was bothering her. But she was the professional and I felt like shit, so I just agreed and hung up and did what I was told. Less than 2 hours later though, I was losing consciousness and was delirious, and my temp was 104 Fahrenheit/40 Celsius. My husband panicked and called for ambulance. I was vomiting and no longer able to stand up at all without passing out. The paramedics told my husband I was extremely ill and they were taking me immediately to hospital. My memory is very patchy. My husband said my communication was very poor. I was blue lighted to my hospital emergency department and taken to resuscitation room just in case, but luckily it was not needed. The hospital was full, so I was kept in a nurse's station waiting on a bed on a stretcher being given 4 antibiotics and fluids. The staff were nice to me though. The next day the paramedics came over and said it was good to see me and I looked a lot better. I didn't recognize them, but they were very nice and explained they were the ones who brought me in. I apologized profusely for being sick on them. Neutral face, I am now much better, even though I am still technically getting treatment and recovering. Anyway, they have a big focus on septicemia now where I live. And the health services have posters everywhere and they have been training all their staff on the warning signs and what they need to be aware of, etc. So anyway, I was going to put in a complaint about the nurse who dismissed me and made me feel like I was stupid, but someone has said to me that putting in complaints could lose someone their job and it shouldn't be done. But my attitude is, if my husband wasn't here at the time, I would be dead. I don't want people fired or in trouble at work, but I just think, what if it was a single person at home or a child who she dismissed next time? So would I be the bad person? What do you guys think? Lay down your ruling in the comments section and let's move on to our next story. Case 2. Am I the bad person for breaking up with my GF after she called a male friend to come pick her up from my place in the middle of an argument? I, 36M, got into an argument with my GF, 28F, about her running into an old friend from school and going out of her way to message him. She randomly brought him to me when she came back from work and something felt weird. After her shower, I asked if that was her way of letting me know she was in contact with him and they would be hanging out moving forward. She said no. I asked if he gave her his number or if he gave his. She said no. She then had this weird look on her face. I went to the room and grabbed her phone for her to show me. She always does that to me, so I figured now is the one time I would reciprocate. Lo and behold, the first name in the notifications was the guy she mentioned. She hesitated to open the phone but eventually did. Turns out she messaged him first. She then claimed that she was on the phone when they spoke, so she didn't want to be rude. So she texted him to say it EAS nice to see him. I asked her why she lied. She said she didn't lie because she had his contact from when they were in high school. I told her that I have an issue with her going out of her way to reconnect, since she's asked me she doesn't want me to have friendships with women, especially those who like me, etc. This is what she was fighting me about. She claims that last year she went through my phone and heard a voice note of me telling a female friend of mine about how I ran into someone in my past. I told her I didn't have any connections, as I don't do that. She also made me delete that girl and the convo, etc. from my phone, so now that there's no evidence, I'm a liar and giving her crap for something that I also did. This is when she decided she wanted to go home. I told her that I didn't have an issue with her reconnecting since she explained he is a HS friend who she would consider of value. But she kept pressing that I had an issue. I told her she just wants to find fault and that if I have no issue, I don't know what we were fighting for. This is when she burst into tears, and I told her that she wasn't going to armist her with that. Next thing I know, she's on the phone with one of her male friends who she claims to have known for so long, crying to him in my place. He asks to speak to me, and she exclaims that I cannot be reasoned with. She begged him to come and pick her from my place as she cannot drive in her state. She exclaimed how she made a mistake getting into a relationship with me and that she just needs to get out. I put her stuff out the door and told there was no coming back from what just happened. I blocked her to her face, and she said I was an evil man. I just calmed down enough to write this, but I genuinely felt my feelings for her evaporate as I was listening to the call and still feel nothing for her. Am I the bad person? What do you guys think of this one? Let us know in the comments section, and let's move on to our next story. Case 3. Am I the bad person for listing my stepmom as stepmother of the groom instead of mother of the groom on our wedding invites and program? My fiancé and I finalized our wedding invitations and our wedding program designs. The wording we chose has bothered some of my family, and I'm here to find out if I'm TA or not. My fiancé's parents are both alive and married, so she just has them as father and mother of the bride. My mom died when I was in elementary school, and dad remarried when I was in middle school. My stepmom's my stepmom. I don't call her mom and never introduced her as my mom. And I wanted to mention my mom on the invites and program too. So I had it worded as late mother, father, and stepmother. Nothing has been sent out yet or printed. But we had some family over for a dinner on Sunday night, and they wanted to see what we decided on. That's when some family spoke in protest at listing my stepmom as stepmother versus mother. The people upset were my youngest full sister, who calls our stepmom mom, and 2 of my half-siblings. Dad had asked why not just say parents of the bride and parents of the groom and save labeling anyone as a step or as a lesser parent when my stepmom has been around a long time now. My stepmom suggested mom should have been listed last instead of first. My fiancé said being dead didn't make her less important and that we didn't need their opinions on our choice of words because everyone got mentioned. But my 3 siblings who complained said it was mean for me to put her as step on them. My younger full sister, who doesn't call our stepmom mom either, spoke in my defense and said she'd write it the same way if she were the one getting married. It was just an overly dramatic issue. And honestly, the program was just covered in our wedding package, so we didn't intend to do it. Personally, I don't see why mom has to come last and why I need to list my stepmom as my mother instead of stepmother when she is my stepmother. This whole thing has not blown over since Sunday night, and my dad sent me a bunch of screenshots with proof that listing everyone as parents instead of by official title is better. And my youngest, full, sister has continued to bring up how bad she feels that my stepmom has to always be reminded she's a step. She said if she could accept her fully, me and our sister could do it too. But she was younger than us, and it made a difference. She also said she wouldn't mention our shared mom if she got married, and she'd rather not have something morbid like that and instead focus on the living mom she has. My stepmom hasn't said more, but I could tell she was feeling hurt. I know she's entitled to her feelings, and I won't discount them. We don't have a bad relationship. But I have never called her mom, so I don't see why this expectation was ever there to begin with. Am I the bad person, though? Can't wrap my head around that story. What do you think? Who is in the wrong there? Let us know down in the comments section, and let's move on to our last case. Case 4. Am I the bad person for telling my boss that if she wants this little girl to be suspended, she can tell the parents herself? I'm the lead teacher in a 2-year-old room at a daycare. I have a little girl in my class, Sophie, that has had an issue with biting the past couple days. Sophie is usually very sweet and she's very intelligent. She's almost fully potty trained at 28 months old, but she has a pretty severe speech delay, and her mom was taken to the hospital by ambulance last weekend, and Sophie hasn't seen her since the ambulance took her because the hospital doesn't allow children under 5 to visit. All of this is to say I strongly believe the biting is a reaction to the mom's hospitalization and her inability to communicate. The way biting is typically handled is the parents get a warning after the first incident, they're suspended for 2 days after the second incident, and we consider expulsion after the third incident. Everything up to expulsion is up to the lead teacher though, since our boss is never here. Whenever Sophie bites, I still have her grandma sign the incident report, but I don't suspend her. On Wednesday, Sophie bit a boy whose mom is friends with my boss. His mom complained to my boss about the bite, and my boss told the mom Sophie would be suspended. The boy got to school yesterday and saw Sophie, so my boss got another complaint because Sophie is still there. Then my boss contacted me and told me I need to have Sophie's parents pick her up because her friend is upset, but I refused. I explained their situation to my boss so she might have a bit of sympathy, but she still insisted that Sophie couldn't be there. I told her that I refused to suspend her while her mom is in the hospital, and that if she wants Sophie to be suspended that badly, she can come down here and do it herself. Sophie is not suspended, but I still have to deal with a pissed off mom, and my boss is upset, so I wanted to know if I am wrong for refusing to suspend Sophie. You've sat down, you've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it gonna be? Let us have it down in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.